Nochuk Manwahat, Katrina Lo Queensna, Tanachin Klaskahotmish Okameo, Onwanoutston Squallowin. I am pleased to be presenting my learning and inquiry journey from my first year as principal of Myrtle Phillip Community School here in the beautiful Sea to Sky School District. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that I am of settler ancestry and have been living, working, playing, and learning on the traditional shared territory of the Lil'wat and Squamish people, and I'm grateful to be living in this beautiful place. For me, this year has been an incredible learning experience that I would not have been able to make sense of without inquiry, and more specifically, the Spirals of Inquiry framework. I have learned so many things this year, and I'm grateful for all of them, and these lessons feel to me like my own personal book on being a new principal. The first chapter of my book, of course, will always start with scanning. My scan this year began at the beginning: who I am working with and how do I get to know everyone. For me, the idea of being known and knowing those around me is necessary. I can't perform at my best for anyone who doesn't seem to get me. So I made it my mission to try and learn about those I'm working with in a way that I can attempt to get everyone. This has been a large task, but I feel as though I'm getting there. At the beginning of the year, I read Simon Sinek's Start With Why and immediately began to dig into my why and what it could possibly be. As I began to investigate myself, I started to notice what I value about myself and figured I should start there. The thing I appreciate the most about me is that I care so much about ensuring that everyone around me feels valued. With every word that comes out of my mouth and every action I take, the thing I am the most purposeful in is that I consistently do my best to make everybody feel good about themselves. This is just part of my makeup and something I can't not do. This reflection led me to my temporary why, which is to make sure that everyone in our building feels safe, loved, known, and valued, and that this is done with equity in mind. With this temporary why feeling more clear, I began working on having as many purposeful interactions as possible with everyone that I could. I always find developing a hunch to be the spot in the spiral I have the easiest time with. I don't have time to worry about the things that we can't do anything about. I just tend to get on with it and keep moving forward. I love to learn. Learning something new and staying current is what keeps me loving education. To me, professional learning is what makes our job easier, and when I have the opportunity to participate in Quality PD, I am always the first to sign up for exactly this reason. Since the pandemic, educators have been feeling much more burnt out than they used to be. They are, for the most part, feeling overworked and underappreciated. In my experience, I've noticed that since the pandemic, professional learning has become less and less personal, less and less available, and professional collaboration has all but stopped completely. I also often hear educators saying and acting as though they're too burnt out to take in anything new. Sometimes when something happens that causes us to step back and do less, we end up having less energy as a result, and it becomes harder and harder to get back into the swing of who we once were. I noticed that when we talk about self-care, we forget to take into consideration that humans are built to make connections and feel productive, and we begin to allow ourselves to opt out of things that feel too hard. This is a slippery slope that I believe educators have been sliding down since the pandemic began. So my question has become, how do I get teachers back into being excited for professional learning? Working closely with my PD committee for these past few months and hearing what Laura Tate had to say about how professional development transformed in her district, I feel confident that this has already begun to happen here at Myrtle Phillip. I've spent a lot of this year working on new learning, being a new principal in a new building in a new town, participating in TELP, and having a commute has forced me to listen to podcasts, pick up books, read articles, and scavenge for any new learning that can benefit my setting. I have plans, many plans, for the coming years that I believe will make a difference to myself, my staff, and my district. Taking this year to be curious and reflect has allowed me to be intentional and thoughtful in the taking action stage of the spiral and beyond. I am so grateful for this experience. Every time I participate in something with the network, I grow more than I ever could have imagined. I hope that in the future I can continue to learn as much as I did this year in TELP. Thank you, Linda and Judy, for this work, all of the presenters for their perspectives, everyone at the symposium for their kindredness, all of the participants of this program for their listening skills, SD48 for their consistent encouragement and support, and to my reading buddy Nolan for always listening to my perspectives that were oftentimes a little emotional.